Welcome to DSP, and we are talking Pistons right now. Richard,
I'm back.
is here. You're back. You're back,
baby.
The Pistons had to go a crazy route in free agency with, of course, the news that came out with Malik Beasley. You do not look concerned whatsoever, though.
He's putting on a brave face.
Let's say not concerned. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic because if you just think back last summer, when you look at the Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, those signings, they didn't really you didn't go, oh my God, this is great or whatever, and then look how the season turned out. So unfortunately, with the situation that Malik Beasley is dealing with right now, you may have lost your opportunity with him, but you get Karis LeVert, you get Duncan Robinson, two guys that have played deep in the playoffs, and they're not chopped liver. And I think a lot of people have to stop. They have to say, those guys are not chopped liver. The guys can still play, and they're veterans as well. And I always talk about we got to have vets. So you're still bringing in two veterans. Hopefully we can get something, backup point guard, and I'm still searching for that stretch four.
I think people look at what happened with Duncan Robinson in the playoffs, and it's like, well, Miami didn't really want to play him. Something must be wrong. But guess what? Didn't Dallas do that with Tim Hardaway Jr. the year before?
Tim Hardaway
and how did that turn out? He was a starter.
He was a starter here for most of the year, and he played pretty dang on good. You know what I mean? So I think what Duncan does, he's still that shooter that can come off a screen and knock down that open three-pointer. He's still a guy that can knock down a three, and the Pistons need that. Karis is different, is that he can knock down the three, but he also can attack the basket, and he can be another ball handler. So with those two guys, you still got some good pieces to plug away with Cade. The key here is going to be internal development. A lot of people talk about Jaden Ivey, but you also need to see more from Asar Thompson. You need to see more from Jalen Duren. You also need to see more from Ron Holland. If those guys develop like we say they should, the Pistons should be fine. They won 44 games last year. Just get a little internal development, they can get 50. That's just being optimistic about it.
You know, that's such a great point that you make about the internal improvement, because you talk about Ron Holland, the year 1 to year 2 improvement. You never know. He could be a much bigger piece. But I feel like every time we had Richard on this whole Pistons season, he was talking about the importance of the veterans. So when the Pistons were kind of caught in a tough spot there for a moment, they probably said we need to replace not only a little bit of shooting, but that veteran presence in our locker room. And I feel like under the circumstances, Trajan Langdon kind of did the best that he could. Now, obviously, Karis LeVert has dealt with a lot of injuries. Duncan Robinson, kind of a traffic cone on defense. So neither of these are perfect prospects, but they don't necessarily need them to be. If Ron Holland and Asar Thompson can take a little bit of steps forward, be a little bit more dangerous on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, this team has showed us that they can make that work.
Yeah, and you got to remember Malik Beasley wasn't exactly stopping.
That's true. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So you got a guy, you can still, Duncan can still knock down that three. You get him out there, and he still, what he does, spreads the floor for Cade.
Yep.
And that's what you really need. You just guys that put on the floor, and Cade can go to work. And now you got Jaden Ivey coming back. We could be in a good spot, but the one thing that hurts us, though, is the teams around you got better. Miami just did a trade today where they got Norman Powell. Orlando went out and got those guys. Atlanta went out and got all those acquisitions that they made. So the key is that the teams around you got better, but you just hope that the Pistons' internal development can get them to that next level.
How do you replace 300-plus threes, though? By one player. It's an honest question. Because Beasley's threes won him a lot of games last year.
I'm not going to take away from that, but the fact is, hopefully I'm hearing the Kings sign and trade may not work, but if you could have got a guy like Malik Monk, that would have been huge. It would have softened the blow of you losing Beasley.
Yeah.
But I think the guys is going to have to make some shots. But hopefully everybody stays healthy. Not Hardaway, but LeVert can come in, knock down some. Duncan can do what he's been doing all these years, and Trajan's not done. It's only July 7th.
Yep.
There's still a long offseason. There could be a trade, and then hopefully, the Pistons can get another guy that can come in and knock down some of those shots.
And I know it's a lot to ask of a 37th overall pick, but Chaz Lanier was not bad at Tennessee. I mean, he led them last year on a team that made it to the Elite Eight, shot extremely well from three. He could be a factor on this team as well. Not saying that he is the end-all, be-all for this team, but he still could be a contributor, and you really don't know what you got until you put somebody on the floor.
And you have to look at, just because someone's a second-round pick doesn't mean they can't come in and contribute right away. All we need you to do is just come in and knock down threes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that if he actually get playing time, and you see JB plays rookies, if he can come in and get some playing time and get some of those threes up and knock them down, show that he can knock them down at NBA level, we should be okay.
Yeah, you said it. You don't want to rely on a rookie for too much, but if there's one thing that can translate, it's shooting, right? Like a guy can. I mean, even Isaiah Livers was kind of a contributor for the Pistons because he could shoot. And all they need Chaz Lanier to do is just go in and just replace some of those.
You go stand there, just go behind the arc and shoot it.
And I just like. Tim Hardaway hit a lot of big threes for this team too, so it's not just the 300 from Beasley. You know, it's the 450 or whatever it was from both of those guys.
Schroeder. We didn't even bring up Schroeder.
Yeah.
How important would he have been to keep on this team? Because we were talking all offseason. If you could pick 2 of the 3. That you would be okay. And now we're at the point in time that the Pistons don't have any of those 3 between Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, Schroeder would have been huge he was huge for us, you know what I'm saying, as that veteran leader on the floor. And again, like, he can tell guys where to go, and he can also score as well. So losing Schroeder is huge, you know. But like I said, getting Monk back would have softened that blow a little bit. So now you got to figure out, okay, hey, who the Pistons are going to play at that second guard spot, and you can kind of rotate in to have Ivy and Cade split the point guard duties. Hopefully Marcus Sasser can take a bigger leap this year, because he's a guy we've seen that he can make shots. I just feel like he really hasn't got an opportunity to say, hey, you're the backup point guard, show us what you got. So hopefully maybe, like, again, another internal piece that, you know, if they can get to the next level, it'd be great.
Schroeder also like had that dog in him that kind of fit the mentality. And as someone who was, you know, at Michigan during the Karras and Duncan eras, those are nice guys. So, you know, hopefully the Pistons can keep like, you know, that mentality that
they still got
built.
beef stew. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that definitely helps. Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey, we'll see what else Trajan does in the offseason, but I think so.
Do you think they need to add in the front court?
They need somebody.
Do you think they have enough at this point?
No.
Because we keep talking about threes and we keep talking about guard play.
No, because I think that was one of the biggest things I felt that in the New York series we lacked, a stretch 4 / a physical presence that you saw when you lost Isaiah. What happened? You had Paul Reed, which he was solid, but still it was a lot on Jalen Duren. There's a lot on Tobias Harris. And with some of these matchups, you need someone that can be bigger, but also they can stretch the floor. And I think it hasn't really been addressed yet. Still early. I know there's rumors about Nikola Vucevic from Chicago maybe coming in. He's a 7-footer. He won't stretch the floor, but he's still that big type guy that we need, you know what I'm saying, get some rebounds and that type of thing. So if something happens with him, that'd be great too. But I think they still have to address that stretch 4 and see what they can get as far as a backup point guard.
Summer League about to get going for this team. The first step, still a long ways to go until the season gets here. And also, trades can happen too, as we saw with this team.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. I think Trajan Langdon earned a little bit of trust with last season. They're probably ahead of schedule even from what he thought. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm willing to wait it out and see what his final product looks like.
And then one thing I will say, if they take a step back this year to make a bigger gain in the playoffs, hey, I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? The regular season is one thing, but if they're playoff tested and they can win games at home, Pistons win games at home during the playoffs, we'll be fine. So I just think if you take a step back in the regular season, but you still get in, as long as you get in now, we've learned that. Just get in, and we go from there.
Did you see him talk right to them? He said, win games at home.
That's it.
We just win one of
we
those
saw
games.
the side eye, Richard. Or was it even a side eye?
We won one of those games at home. It'd be a completely different offseason. Sure.
All right. Well, still a lot of work to do in this offseason. But, Richard, thank you for joining us. For Derek, I'm Hobie. We'll see y'all next time on DSP.